Boker Tov. Today's daf is daf Yud. We pick up at the bottom of daf Tenamet Bet, and we were in the middle of the story of Shimshon because it's part of the whole Midah Keneged Midah expansion from Sota. Although here again it's interesting because it's talking about a man's sexual sins. Anyway, we pick up where it says, Vayivaka. 7 lines from the bottom, beginning of the line with the little beginning of the pasuk. So this was part of the story where Shimshon was thirsting for water, and God cracked open the machtesh asher balechi, which is presumably means like the hollow within the jaw. Here there was a jawbone of an ass, right? What? Right. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak today, Rabbi Ami. Who ival davar tamei? He lusted after a impure thing, meaning the non-Jewish women. Therefore, his life was the jaw of a donkey, which is from where the water came out. Yeah, but it was unseemly that it had to come from this donkey's jaw. Presumably, that's the point. Okay. And the Spirit of God began to ring out in the camp of Dan, in the tribe of Dan. So it took effect finally, vatachel, like to be chal, to take effect, the prophecy of Yaakov. So, Dan should be a serpent, by the way. So finally here now this Shimshon from Dan is going to be attacking the enemies. To ring out in the tribe of Dan. It's like the divine presence was knocking around. Yeah, knocking around, or like a ringing out in front of him, like a bell. It's a bell, it's a ringer. Okay, Ben Sirah, Ben Eshtaol, between Sirah, what? Ben Sarah, excuse me. Sarah ben Eshtaol, thank you. Amr Rabbi Yasi, Sarah Eshtaol, Shnei Harim Gedolim Hayu. These were two huge mountains. The Akran Shimshon b'Tchanan zebezeh, and Shimshon, in his strength, uprooted them and ground them into one another. I have no idea. V'hu Yachel, it's an opportunity to say a nice little midrash about Shimshon. V'hu Yachel Hoshiat Yisrael. Now we're doubling back to the prophecy that the angel gave. He will begin to bring salvation to Israel, or to save Israel. Amr Rabbi Chanina. So again, the word Yachel, now, as opposed to the Chachamim take effect, here it's not like Chulin, like Lo Yachel Dvaro, remember from the Darim, the oath of Avimelech has now been made void. That, if you betray me and my and my child and my grandchild. So what does this mean? Because Avimelech is obviously Plishtim, and Shimshon is now going to be attacking the Plishtim. So how has the oath been made void? So Rashi says, they already violated that, by attacking Israel. So the shur was avoided. So now Israel is going to go back and attack them.
Can you say it's more than 3 generations?
Well, you could. I guess. Okay. Vayigdal hanar vayivarcheu Hashem. Again, early life of Shimshon. He grew up and God blessed him. But Mar Barcho, with what did God bless him? Amar Rabbi Yehuda, right? You would think. Well, just wait. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amarav Shabircho ba'amata. Okay, with his with his penis. So the Gemara says amato. Now the Gemara corrects this and says, well, that doesn't just mean the size. No, it was a normal size. V'zar'o kinachol shoteif. But now the Zar'od here, not actually being the semen, not his progeny, was like a rushing river. So Rashi says basically, so clearly he was the thing that he desired was sexual prowess. So that is what he was blessed with.
That's very interesting. I mean, meaning because he was with all these women, right? Is that what we're saying? God blessed him that way?
Well, that's the thing. This verse occurs before he desires the women. So, but apparently the point is, this is something he wanted. He wanted sexual prowess. God blessed him, and then he presumably acted on it. So that seems to be the sort of story. But
why can't they take this, simply? Is that because
I don't know. I mean, it's because of all of this. It's an opportunity to make drashot. But I guess the real point is not why do they read the psukim simply, but what point are they trying to make? So, and maybe part part of the point might have to do with the point that the Gemara is going to get to later, which is like, people are blessed with different things, but like the Gemara is going to later talk about, that often the things that that certain people were very blessed with ultimately led to their downfall. Like you have to know how to control these things, so, and maybe that's again part, like you desire certain things. He actually has this ability, right? He has this, but nevertheless, you don't go ahead and act on it, and it leads to your downfall, which also partly perhaps is the message about Sota. But I don't know. You're welcome to suggest another explanation. Yes, Dov.
Yeah, well, I'd like to figure out sort of the language play of these midrashim. He took the two mountains and ground them into dust because of the Ashak Shukim. In other words, right, it's Ben Torah Eshtaol, and he took the two mountains and he banged them together.
Right.
So that's the image. And
but
so,
that's a little famo, you mean? Kashkesh?
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Vayikra Shimshon el Hashem, and Shimshon called out to God. Vayomer, and he said, Hashem Elokim zachrini na v'chazkeni na achapam. Remember me and give me strength this one last time. V'nakman nakam and let me just have vengeance from one of the eyes. Me please from these Philistines. Shimshon said to God, or some say Esrim Shana, Shafatati at Israel. Remember me the 20 years I judged Israel. And I never sort of misused my position. I never even said to them, could you bring my stick from one place to another? I never treated them like servants or whatever. I dealt properly with my subjects. Now, again, where we're getting that from this pasuk, obviously that's like a theme, like when when Moshe's leadership was challenged, when Shmuel, they asked for a king. He says, have I ever nasati, I've been such a good leader. I never took advantage of them. Where it's getting it from this, I don't know. Okay. Shimshon, we're jumping back and forth also. It's very strange.
We're getting the end.
You're getting the end. I know. Jump to the end, now jump back. Shimshon went, this is obviously before that last scene, and he went and he smote 300 foxes.
Well, I think, I don't know that he smoked them, right? He didn't kill them, did he? He tied the sticks to them.
Yeah, whatever. Like, so he took their tails together. So, yes, he captured them. Okay. So, Ma'ishna Shualim, why foxes? Yeah, he didn't smite them. Amar Rabbi Avo, Bar Rabbi Nagdi, Amar Rabbi Chia Bar Abba, Amar Shimshon. Shimshon said, Yavo Misha Choser La'achurav, let the one come who retreats backwards on his steps. When a fox backs off, it doesn't turn around and run. He walks backwards. So let the one who walks backwards on his steps be from me, Plishim Shechazru B'Shuatan, and let him take vengeance on the Philistines, these oxen who they betrayed the oath. They were the ones that violated the oath first and began oppressing Israel. Tanya, with on Bryce, Rabbi Shimon HaChassid, Ben Ksefah Shel Shimshon, the shoulder length width of Shimshon from one shoulder to the next was Shishim Amma, was 60 cubits long, 90 feet.
And there has to be something with that.
Well, now we're going to see why. Vayishkav Shimshon al Chatzi Alayla, he slept for half the night. Vayakam Chatzi Alayla, he woke in the middle of the night. This is back to the final scene. Vayochaz b'dlatot sharei ha'ir, he grabbed keys of the doors of the gates of the city, which like he was bound to, and the two lintels, and he carried them up on his back with the bolt, and he put them on his shoulders. So basically, he had here the doors of the city on his back. The Gemiri, and we have a tradition, the Ein Tlatot Azza, that the doors of Azza are not narrower than 60 amot long. So here it was, he carried them all on his back. All right, so that's how broad he was. He's like a regular Paul Bunyan. Okay, and there they was. They attached him to a millstone, and they had him grinding in the jailhouse. So, and with the millstone, walking around the millstone basically and making it grind. I'm Rabbi Yochanan, ain't tchina eloshen aveira. Going back to the whole sexual theme here, tchina here does not literally mean grinding. It's a metaphor for intercourse. That this man will basically grind after my wife, which basically means have intercourse with. So what does it mean that he was grinding in the house of the jail? So Amar Rabbi Yochanan, once we established that that's what the word means, so he was like a
stud.
A stud, right? What was the name of that one that was paid $1 million for every that horse?
One was Secretariat.
Secretariat, I think. It wasn't Secretariat? Anyway, whatever. Anyway, so every man brought his wife. So by the way, all of this is very interesting, of course, in the context of Sota. The Sota is like the woman, she's, she commits adultery, she betrays her husband.
And this is for sure.
Jealous husband. Here it's the husband as opposed to grabbing his wife who he suspects of committing adultery and bringing her to the Beit HaMikdash. It's grabbing his wife and forcing her to undergo sex with this other man so he could have, strong kids like Shimshon. But obviously the whole sense of like the woman as almost property, subject to whatever the husband wants to do, whether it's that I think certainly is a theme that comes out here. When the man himself and sometimes is doing this to his own wife, right? Exactly.
Rashi has a fascinating comment on that verse. Rabotenu pirshu ma shapirshu. he won't say exactly what they and he references this.
Right. Like, okay, they have a very elaborate drasha, but let's not talk about it. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Okay. So, all right. Where were we? Amar Papa, Hainu Dami Inshi. That's what people say. Kame de shasi chamra. In front of one who drinks wine, in front of a drunkard, you give they give wine. Kame de refuka, in front of a farmer or gardener, gerida duvla, you bring a basket of vegetables. So people get what they're what they want, what they're about. So even though it doesn't do a drunkard any good to give him any more wine, it's not always good for him. But that's so same point here with Shimshon. Okay, so V'amar Rabbi Yochanan. Now again, it's always, I think, very interesting. Again, like how much, what's it saying, not with Homosechet that focuses on the wife and her guilt or whatever, how much are we shifting also the focus to the man? So let's see what this says. Any man who commits adultery, his wife will or fornicates, I should say, his wife will fornicate or commit adultery against him. So again, it's very interesting, the whole parallel, because as we've been pointing out, as a matter of halacha, right, if a man sleeps with a woman that's not his wife, if she's not a married woman, that's not adultery, right? But we've already talked about the fact that the Gemara does not limit its concept of sexual sin to that technical halachic issue. If you remember before, for example, the Gemara said that, well, Shimshon's really, when he began to be mekalkel, was not just when he married non-Jewish women, but when he actually went to prostitutes, right? So there's like a moral framing of the definition of sexual sin, which is not necessarily the narrow halachic definition. So here it's talking about a man who is mizaneh. Presumably it doesn't just mean sleeps with a married woman. Presumably it means he sleeps around, right? And then his wife is going to do the same to him. So I think what's very important is A, focusing on the fact that the man is not always pure. A, that if a man's wife is committing adultery, this is the point that we've been saying at the beginning, how is he contributing to that, right? Who is really to blame? And how did that whole thing start? And that also recognizes that for him also it's an equivalent type of an idea of zinut. Okay, so I think that's very important introducing this line in the larger discussion. If my heart has been seduced for a woman, and I laid wait by the door of my neighbor, like to basically seduce his wife. So that Steve, and then the end of the verse is, and this is the verse we quoted before about grinding, Titchan la'achar ishti. And he will grind after my wife, and my wife will commit adultery against me. Okay, so here, by the way, it is actually adultery because it is about another man's wife. It's not just another woman, but nevertheless, the parallel here is important. And then the Gemara says, and for her they will like bow down, after her, meaning they will prostrate themselves. So men will chase after her. If I chase after my neighbor's wife, men will chase after my wife. The Hainu Damri Inshi, and that's what people say, Iu Bekari v'itate bebutzni. He eats like a small gourd, and his wife eats a big one, which basically is the ancient version of what's good for the goose is, oh, there you go. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Okay, well, maybe also that's also a little of a sexually evocative picture too. But I think the point is more like what's good for the goose is good for the gander type of thing. If you do it, it's going to get done to you. Okay, Rabbi Yochanan, Shimshon, back to Shimshon. Shimshon Dani Israel, Aviam Shabashamayim. He was such a righteous judge, going back to that point. Right, the whole thing, by the way, I think it's also important, right, about the idea of here you could be so righteous, before it called them the tzaddik and whatever, and how lust can ultimately, lead to your downfall. So here, at the same time we're emphasizing Shimshon's lust, we're also talking about what a great judge he was and how righteous he was in other ways. So
we're not saying that he couldn't be one because of the other.
Well, that's true also, but also how it could lead to the downfall. Okay. So the Gemara says, Shimshon Danit Yisrael Kavim Shabashemaim. He was such a good judge. He treated them like their God, like God, like their Father in heaven. Shademar Dan Yadinamo Ke'echad, like the one, like God. And the Dan Yadinamo is understood to refer to Shimshon. The Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Shimshon al Shemo Shakadosh Baruch Hu Nikra. The name Shimshon was ultimately a reference to God. Shademar Ki Shamash Umagein Hashem Elohim. That God is a sword and a protector and not a sword, a protector and a shield for them. Elamiata says so. Shamash is like a shield, but it refers to it's a godly name. Elamiata says Gemara Lo Yimacha. So how can we erase the name of Shimshon? We would let it be a name of God. Ella, what? That he's given the name of God. Well, we're going to correct it anyway. Okay,
or erase the word Shemesh then.
What? Well, let's see what it says. So the Gemara is going to correct it. Really? It's really a name of God? So let's say it's also to erase. Ella me'ein shmo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All right, it's not literally a name of God, but it refers to God. A lot of people have names like God, right? They have El in their name, Yeshayahu, Eliezer, whatever. So Tosa says the real point. Tosa says another question. Tosa says what? Every word that refers to God can't be erased. How about Chanun and Rachel? Like those are names that can be erased. Shalom is the name of God. So Tosa says, well, you're right. Those are really descriptions more than they are proper names. And he says that's really what the Gemara means in its answer. When the Ein Shmo Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu means to say Shamash, a shield, a protector. Maybe God is my rock. So in some English they have the R with a capital, like the rock with a capital R, right? Our rock, Tzur Yisrael v'go alo. But ultimately it's a descriptor. So therefore, that's a name that people can use. They use a similar type of a name that's ultimately a descriptor, even though it's a name that's used specifically to describe God. Okay, so it says.
So those can be erased as long as
so it can be erased. So because it's not a proper name of God.
I don't understand the problem here. It says Al Shemo Shel.
All right, so that's in the end. It just clarifies. God protects the whole world. He was the protector in for his generation over Israel. God is forever protector of the world. Shimshon in his generation protect Israel, was the defender of Israel. Rabbi Yochanan, Bilam Chiger Baraglo, and Rabbi Yochanan also said Bilam was lame in one leg. Achat Hayash and Emar Vayelch Shefi. And Shefi could be an Aramaic word to mean like to be dislocated. So like one of his limbs or whatever legs was dislocated, he was lame. Shimshon Chiger b'shtei raglav haya. And Emar Shififon alei orach, the double language of Shefi, which is now fascinating. So here he was on the same time all of this strength, and at the same time also he was he was lame in his legs, which how does it go carrying them or whatever. But I think maybe with the nice thing, obviously there are things in this Gemara which are challenging to read or whatever, or a little uncomfortable. But the interesting thing also is that the complexity, often people complain like, for Chazal, everybody was either totally a tzaddik or totally a Rasha. Esav was a total Rasha, Yaakov was a total tzaddik. Here it reflects the complexity of human nature. You can have somebody that's very righteous and a protector of Israel and very lustful and running after these women, and he could be very strong, even physically strong in one way, and have a physical disability in another way. And I think there's something powerful about not putting people in these easy boxes. Okay, so now the Gemara says like this: Tanu Rabbanan, 5 were created something like me'ein dugma, like a double little distancing language, similar to the image of what it is up above, meaning there's something almost divine, or heavenly about a particular quality of theirs. It was so out of the ordinary. But ultimately it was their downfall, right? So this gets back to that thing about people can be blessed with certain things, but you got to be careful with them because they can be your downfall. So what were they? Shimshon b'kolcho, Shimshon in his strength, Shaul b'tzavaro, Shaul in his neck, because he was Mishichma Umala, right? He was taller than everybody else. I don't know, maybe his height was in his legs, but okay. Anyway, maybe it's Mishichma Ulamala, from his shoulders up is where he was higher. All right, anyway, Avshalom b'sa'aro, Avshalom in his hair, Tzidkiyahu be'einav, Tzidkiyahu in his eyes, Asa b'raglav. And now we're going to unpack this. Shimshon b'kolcho, Shimshon in his strength. Shaul, it says, Vayaser kocho me'alav. So the same thing that was his, was what he was so great about was ultimately what was taken from him at the end. Now that's not exactly the same thing that it led to his downfall. I mean, before it was sort of like, his eyes, he lusted after his eyes and his eyes were poked out. Here the strength wasn't necessarily the bad thing about him, but that thing that he, what?
His death came about because the strength returned to him. I was not.
Oh, that's interesting too. Ultimately, yeah. But it's right. So it is interesting again, because it's not like his sin ultimately was in his strength, so it's anyway, so it's not the exact moral message you were expecting. Anyway, let's see. Shaul b'tzavaro dichsiv vayikach Shaul et hacherev vayapel aleha. So when he committed suicide, he fell on the sword. So normally, I guess we imagine he pierced himself through his stomach, his torso. But Rashi says, well, normally where a person is executed with the sword is you cut him off at the neck. So it's not exactly much of an evidence from the pasuk. But again, it's not like we saw that Shaul sinned because of his height, like somehow that led to gava or anything. So this is not like your fatal flaw type of a message. It's like, so I don't know what the message is.
The strength, like these 5 people, like you might think that they're like almost godlike.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. So it's not a moral message. I see. That's a nice point. It's not a moral message. It's just saying, like, no matter how much you're blessed or what you have the strength, ultimately it's not going to save you from your final fate. Ultimately, it's not yours. Yeah, that's very nice. Okay. Where were we? Okay, Avshalom is Sa'aro, because Avshalom is the one that at most is a type of midah keneged midah. Kirabin Lamimar, come on, we're going to say that later. I mean, that's almost the one that's most explicit in the verses. It is explicit. Tzidkiyahu be'inav, Tzidkiyahu in his eyes, Tzidkiv, the Seinei Tzidkiyahu iver. His eyes were blinded. Now Rashi says, yeah, but where does it say that ultimately his eyes were so beautiful, right? That his eyes were such a divine gift. So, well, since it says he was blinded in his eyes, I'll that's how you say it. Exactly. So anyway, Rashi says it must have been a tradition. Asa b'raglav tichsiv his legs became, injured, ill or whatever. So again, where do we see that he was blessed with something in his legs? We don't know. That was some tradition. Okay. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Shachzato Padagra. What was this thing that this disease that affected his legs? It was something called Padagra. What is Padagra? Gout. Oh, gout. Okay. So Amalei Mar Zutra Braid Rav Nachman. So Mar Zutra said to his father Rav Nachman, Heichidami Padagra. What's that like? What's the experience like? Amalei Kimachat Basar Hachai. Like a needle in raw flesh. So I guess it means it's extremely painful. So
Samuel Johnson writes about that. He had gout.
Yeah.
And he said it's like a rat nibbling at his toe.
Oy, oy.
So it's the same image.
There you go. All right.
Extremely painful.
Okay. Wow. Mina yada. Now, how did Rav Nachman know that was what it was like? He had it. He experienced it. He got it. He had a tradition from his Rebbe. I don't know if it means his Rebbe had it, but it was a tradition. And some say, yeah, God's secret is to those who fear him, like he just knew it through some inspiration, which you might remember was a similar discussion we had before about the Shir Bia.
I guess he wasn't a doctor.
Right?
I guess he wasn't a doctor.
He wasn't a doctor. Darish Rava. Why was Asa punished? Again, we said he was biraglav, but again, as we were just discussing, that the point was not that the punishment was a midah keneged midah. It was just this trait which was so powerful. Ultimately, he lost. So why was he punished then? So Asa. Because he drafted the Torah students. You can only imagine how this Gemara is used in religious politics in Israel. I kid you not. This Gemara is quoted so much relating to the draft for Kol students. Yeah. He raised up, meaning to kingly service, all of Judea. None was exempt. What does it mean? None was exempt. So not only Talmud sages, but even those that the Torah explicitly exempts, people like the day after their wedding or the day of their wedding. Okay, and
wedding.
And I mean, we wasn't exempting, the bride and the groom. So anyway, this Gemara is obviously, like I said, used about as a basis for saying that Kolel students shouldn't be drafted. Okay, Ksiv Vayach Shimshon Timnasa. Vayer Shimshon Timnasa. He went down to Timnah. The Ksiv, another verse says, "Hinei chamich olet Timnasa by Yehuda." Your father-in-law is going up to Timnasa. So do you go up to Timnasa or do you go down to Timnasa?
Depends where you're coming from. The middle of the mountain, you know.
All right. You all figured out the Gemara. We can just skip it. Our Rebbe Lezer, Shimshon Shnit Kaneba, Shimshon, that ultimately he was, being degraded by the experience. So Ksiv Be Yerida, for him it was a moral failing. It was a Yehuda Shnit Aleba, Yehuda that was raised up through it, because ultimately he admits to his guilt, and ultimately it leads to his twin sons, and from which comes the kings. But there's a sense also of just like as a point of character. It was an experience that raised him up. Ksiv Be Aliyah. It says he went up. Which, by the way, that actually might be pshat. Like Ola and Yarad might not be geographic. When we say about you make making Aliyah to Israel, it's not a question about whether it's higher or lower, north or south. What?
Yes, it is. Because topographically Egypt is lower. So you're always like Mitzrayim, but topographically.
That's when. But I think the Pesukim talk about.
No, but in other words, like the Aliyah. Topographically.
Depends on where you are.
All right, I don't know.
Like the Nile Basin.
I don't know. We could take a look. It's my sense. All right. We can take a look. It is my sense that the Psukim do not use Aliyah only in the geographic sense.
We'll also say Rashi was Eretz Gavami Kol Haaretz.
Right, but does he mean? But again, but I think that's actually like
spiritually.
Yeah, like okay. Anyway, we can take a look. What is the pshat of all those Psukim? Okay, okay. Let's take a look. So anyway, but that's the first explanation. Okay, where were we? So there are two places called Timnah. One was I, one was no. It was one Timnah. No, presumably not. Now, the interesting thing is that it's more of a powerful if you see it's one Timnah and it's telling two contrasting stories relating to women and leaders in Timnah, whatever. Anyway, so it's a little funny to separate those two stories. It was one Timnah. Like Michael said, it was in the middle of the mountain. If you came from one place, you were going down. From another place, you were going up. Vardunia, Ubebari, Vishuka, Dinar. All these were villages on some mountain, and depending on where you're coming from the mountain, you're going up or you're going down. Okay. Now that we're talking about Yehuda, let's talk about Yehuda. But it's interesting, like sometimes the Gemara just when's it going to tell all the Agadah it has to tell? So if it gets an opening, maybe it tells it. But it is again interesting that all of these are stories about sexual sin. Right? And notice, by the way, and men being the ones doing the sexual sin. Exactly. So it's, I think, a very important counterbalance to the whole woman sinning, against her husband. That is the message of Sosa. Yes.
Wikipedia actually says there are two Timnas.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Does he quote this Gemara? No, anyway.
Actually, well, they quote the
archaeology. Okay.
Isn't one of them a site of wine?
Yeah.
He sends to deliverance.
Yes.
In other words, when we're saying they're talking about men sinning, they led to deliverance of the people, and just like the Messianic line.
Right.
And Shimshon.
That's true. That's true. So ultimately, it does not come with the same. It's like the same sense of criticism or whatever, because there's all that whole positive context to it. That's a good point. Of course, then you have the positive context to a women's context, whatever, ramifications, like with what's her name, with what? Well, first of all, Tamar, right? She also was in a way, whether she was sinning or not, we'll talk about it in a minute. But I was also talking about Yael, right? And so it's not. Yeah, exactly. So you sometimes have whether man or the woman in a context where it leads to salvation. Yeah, but that's a good point. Okay, so Gemara says like this. Okay. But they sat by the crossroads. So what's this word petach inayim?
By the way, which was also Timnah. So,
right, because he came up to Timnah. So now we're still in Timnah. Amr Alexandri, she sat by the doorway of Avraham. what Avram was doing in Timnah, I don't know. Malcolm Shekol Einayim Tzofot Lir'oto. Everybody is looking. It's the opening, right? Avram was Petach Oel, and since he's such a welcoming host or whatever, everybody's always looking towards Avram's Oel because they'll know they'll be greeted and they'll be welcomed. So it would be a little dangerous to be over there by Abraham's tent. I think maybe she'd be recognized, but whatever. It's a drasha. Okay. Rabbi Chanin Amarav Makom Hu Shishmo Einayim. No, it means by the opening of the city Einayim. V'cheinu Omer Tapuach Veha Einam. So Einayim. Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Shenosna Einayim Lidvareha. She gave eyes to her words, meaning that she well, you'll see. She is Tamar. Tamar. Yeah, we're on Tamar. But Tesha Bet Einayim. Yeah. She's by the opening of the way. So there she is. She hears that Yehuda coming up. Okay. So she made it possible for Yehuda to add. What it says. Okay. Aster says, Amala, he said to her, Shemin Nachrisat. Wait, 1 minute. Before I sleep with you, Miss Prostitute, maybe you're not Jewish.
It's so funny because he took
what can I tell you? How many Jewish prostitutes were there at that time? What? If it was going to be not a Nachris, it would have been a relative of his. I don't understand. So anyway, Shemin Nachrisat. I'm like, no, don't worry, I converted to your faith, so I'm a good Jewish prostitute. Okay, Shema Eshes Ishat. Oh, maybe you're married. Don't want to sleep with a married woman. I'm Rala Pinuyani. No, don't worry, I'm single. Shema Kibel Bachavich Kiddushin. You think you're single? Maybe your father married you off when you were young. I'm Rala Yitomani. No worries.
If she's a convert, she wouldn't have a father.
That's a good point. Anyway, I'm an orphan. Shema, wait, maybe you're Nida. No, I'm related to her already. Don't worry. So
one question he didn't ask is whether she was a Yavama.
Yeah, well, that's true. So Rashi tries to say that she was actually telling the truth about all this. I'm a Gioret because I married your son. The whole thing. I'm not a Nida. But what about this thing that her father married her off when she was, that she's an orphan? So Rashi says, well, that's why Yehuda wasn't transgressing, sleeping with his daughter-in-law, because technically she was never married to his son because she was only married not by her father, who was dead, but by her mother. And we know that that's only rabbinic, and that the rabbinic institution wasn't there yet. So that's why she wasn't even really his daughter-in-law. So Rashi treats this as halachic and as she's telling the truth. What? I know. Exactly. So the point here really is, as Ramban says,
the other side of the halacha.
Right, if this wasn't already obvious, Ramban points out that the concept of, I shouldn't say it wasn't obvious, but implicit. Anyway, if the Ramban points out that the concept of Yibum, he says, clearly in the ancient world before the Torah, went beyond the brother. And that's what's going on with Yehud and Tamar, like it's anybody in the family. And you see an echo of this in Ruth, because by Ruth and Boaz, right? He's not the brother of the dead person, but there's this whole concept, there's pseudo yibum going on there, even though it's not literal yibum, right? So therefore, as Janet Proper correctly said, the whole point was that she was his daughter-in-law, but not that made it an arayot, that actually made it why Tamar wanted to do it, and that was part of this whole, pre-yibum idea. That was so anyway, but clearly also there weren't Hilchos Nida yet either. So the Gemara is clearly, reading its halacha back onto that scene. Okay, so now the Gemara continues. Now I don't know how since we mentioned Avraham, it seems to be, and Petach Einayim, let's talk about Avraham a little bit. Vayita Eishel Bever Shava. So Amar Eish Lakish, Melamik Shasa Pardes. What does it mean? Planted. What's an Eishel? So
he made an Eishel tree. What's the difference?
Yeah, but the Gemara questions exactly. So it says he made a whole garden. Okay, all different types of delicacies and fruits or whatever. And Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Nechemia, Chadamar Pardes, one said it was a garden. The Chadamar Pundak, no, it was an inn. Bishleim Elamandamar Pardes, Vayita, to plant. Elamandamar Pundak, my Vayita. What do you mean? Vayita alei apadno. No, we can use the word to plant to mean like to pitch a tent. So he pitched his inn. He built an inn. Vayikra b'shem Hashem el olam. He called out in the name of God.
Well, actually, Rashi said a nice thing. Eshel is achila, shtia, and levia.
Oh, right.
Where you get the in from.
Right. Thank you. Right. Rashi said that. It means achila, shtia, levia, to eat, to drink, and to then be accompanied. So, al tikra vayikra. Don't read it. And he called. Ela vayakri. He made people call out. He had God's name. He made God's name like being mentioned by everybody who would pass by. Ketzad, how is this? Whether it was an inn or whether it was a garden of beautiful fruit trees, he welcomed people in. He fed them. They drank, and after they ate and they drank, they wanted to give him a blessing, for all of the wonderful hospitality. Do you think you ate my food? No, you ate God's food. Give thanks and praise and bless the one who created the world. So that's Vayikra b'Shem. Then he had everybody. That was the way, That's that's the way to do good kiruv. You bring him in with the chalent or with the schnapps or whatever. And then they come back for more. Chabad house, exactly. Okay, hot meat chalent. Yehuda saw her. Back to that, and he thought that she was a prostitute because she had covered her face. Because she covered her face, he thought she was a prostitute. Now that assumes, I think there are different societies. It assumes that there's society that the modesty is you cover your face. Yeah. So obviously a brazen woman uncovers her face, but I think there are societies where it's the opposite, where the veiling is actually like a part of the costume of a prostitute. Is that correct, Charlie?
So what happened? The story about Avram. It's too boring. Let's get back to it.
No, the story was about Yehuda. Avram was clearly a digression.
I've even read that in some very, very conservative Muslim societies, the fact that women are completely veiled facilitates licentious sex.
How?
Because then you don't know
you never know what woman is behind the veil.
It keeps everything anonymous.
Keeps everything anonymous.
Walking with your mistress.
All right. But anyway, let's see what the Gemara says about it. Yeah, because since she was so modest when she was living in Yehuda's house, so therefore, he didn't recognize her. So he never saw her when he was married to his sons, right? Because she was so modest, and maybe it never would have occurred to him that such a modest woman would be a prostitute, but he never saw her before, even though she was his daughter-in-law. Okay. And now ultimately that modesty is going to have, he is blessed by it, because anybody who is modest, even in their father-in-law's house, because on the one hand you're married, so you don't have to go around with your being so so covered up. On the other hand, you're not only there with your husband, you're there with your father-in-law, so you make sure that you maintain, there's another man around. So if you're careful to maintain modesty, ultimately you get kings and prophets. Minolan, where do you know? Tamar, from Tamar. Nevi'im dichsiv chazon Yeshayahu ben Amotz. And how do we know that that's descendant from Tamar, Yeshayahu? Because we'll see in the next pasuk. And Melachim David. David ultimately comes from Yehuda, and then from Peretz. Ve'amar Reb Levi. Now we're going to explain the Yeshayahu reference. We have this as a tradition. Amotz v'Amatzia achim havu. Amotz and Amatzia were brothers, and Amatzia was Melech Yehuda. Mm-hmm. So Yeshayahu was descendant from the kingly line, right? His father-in-law, his uncle was the king. So ultimately he was descendant from David. So ultimately he was descendant from Yehuda and from Tamar. So from Tamar came kings and prophets. Okay. He mutzeit. She was being taken out. So she said he to be killed. He mitotzeit mi baile. I don't know if that's the right grammar, but anyway, Rashi says mutzeit by that, and the way it is sounds more like she was discovered. What does he, right? So what does this mean? So Amar Rabbi Elazar la'achar shenimtzeu simanim. After the simanim were found, she was going to be taken to the court. So she was going to grab hold of the signet ring and of the staff, and present it. So that was what was going to save her. So once she had that in her hand, so Bas Samael, which was this seducing angel, he was also seen as a representative of Esav. So Bavarich Khan, he came and he distanced them.
Meaning because we don't want the Geula?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want Melech David. Ultimately, he's going to smite Esav. Exactly. You don't want the Geula. So he came and he pushed somehow these things away from her. Ba'Gavriel v'Kirvan back to her. So that's himutzeit. They were like somehow rediscovered, the simanim.
It's not even her.
Okay.
It's like her.
Whatever. Okay, fine. What does this mean? For the choir master, the silent dove, distant for David. What does that mean? Michtam, whatever a michtam means, whatever, a song.
It's a type of
I know, it's a type of a song. It's a type of a song. Fine. Musical arrangement. Amar Reb Yochanan. Once these simanim, this evidence was distanced from her. Nastit kiyona ilemek. She became like a mute dove. She had nothing to say in court, and she was going to be executed. With David michtam sheyatsa mimenu, and as ultimately who came from Tamar was David sheyamach v'tam. He was like humble and pure. Righteous in his ways.
Which is interesting because David also committed a sexual sin.
That's a good point.
Which we're going to get to.
That's a whole point. L'chol davar, for everyone, for all. Davar acher michtam, shayisa makato tama. Going back to the sexual point, his shenodal keshu mahul. His wound was pure in the sense that he was born already circumcised. Davar acher michtam, David, we're talking about. Kishem shebekatnuto, hiktina tzmo etzel misha gadol mimenu. When he was young, he humbled himself for those that were greater than him before he became king. Kach li'mod Torah, for the purpose of learning Torah. Kach begadluto, even after he became king, he similarly had that humility. The Gemara often talks about his relationship with his Rebbe, David, etc. Okay. So that's Tama, Shaisa Tama Makato Mitchila V'ad Sofo. I don't know how we got the word Makah here. Like she says. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so he was pure from beginning to end. Anyway, moving on.
Wait, what don't you understand? The word
Makah in this last drasha.
Well, it was all based on michtam. Right?
I understand, but what's the word makah here and being made himself humble for that for those greater than him? I don't know.
They divide the word michtam into.
I know what the word. How does the word makah? Where's the word of wound and smiting? How's that relevant to this last drasha? That's what I don't understand. Mm-hmm. Okay, anyway, whatever. Okay, he shalcha el chami right. She sent them to her father-in-law, saying to the man for whom these belong, that's the one who made me pregnant. Anochi hara, through him I am pregnant. Why don't you just say, hey buddy, you did it. Here's the evidence. So Amar Rav Zuta Bar Tuvia Amar Rav V'Amilei Amar Rav Chana Bar Bizna Amar Rabbi Shimon Chasida V'Amilei Amar Rav Yochanan Mishum Rav Shimon Ben Yochai Noach Lo Ladam Ki Apil Atzmo L'Toch Kif Shana Eish V'Al Yalbi B'nei Chaver Barabim. Probably one of the midrashim that gets taught most to kids, right, or something. I don't know. Anyway, very central midrash, right? It better get thrown into a fiery furnace. Which is what she was going to do. She was going to be burnt, then to shame or labin. It's funny, sometimes we say to like blush and red, but also like when the blood runs from your face, when you're totally devastated or whatever, it becomes white, to whiten somebody's face in public. So what's
interesting is you could have thought, might have thought, like say better for the person, he'd rather be embarrassed. One who was being embarrassed would rather be thrown into a fiery furnace. It's not that. Is that it's better for you
to be thrown into a fire. You should be prepared. Right, exactly. Right. That's good. Right. We're not saying that for the person being embarrassed, he'd rather, sometimes you talk about dying of embarrassment, right, exactly. You'd rather die than whatever. But you're right. The point here is how much you should be prepared to forego, how careful you have to be from saying something that might embarrass somebody that you would even have to suffer like enormously. And as opposed to obviously people that revel in the opportunity, to embarrass somebody. Of course, what I thought you were going to say, Michael, is that the pshat of the psukim is like, let's be honest. Why did she not say it directly? Because you say it directly, and it's just as likely, if not more, that he's going to deny it, and he's going to be defensive, and it's not going to succeed. Right. You give him the opportunity,
confront someone directly,
right, to come forward and to admit. So that obviously seems like it's the pshat. It would have been counterproductive to confront him with it directly. Yes.
Just this last statement. In other words, better that you undergo libun.
Oh, that's cute. Libun is like what he's right about, like going through like a fiery furnace is malabain, right? That's a nice point. I hadn't thought about that. Good point. Okay. Okay. Hakir na, do you recognize? Haker biser la'aviv. Yehuda sent over to his father the word haker. Haker biseruhu, and he was like, it was a, here we're back to midah keneged midah finally. Haker biser, haker na, haketona bin chayhin lo. Is this your son's garment? Right. That was when they sent it dipped in the blood, and then right afterwards it says vayered Yehuda me'et achav. Right. The immediate next story is this whole event with Yehuda, and obviously even before we get to the literary echoing, the point of being of like taking responsibility for your actions and standing up and acknowledging and admitting, as opposed to by the whole father. Right. They sort of they kept distance and they indirectly and they denied sort of distance themselves from any responsibility. Mm-hmm. So obviously there's a change here about Yehuda, and the Medrash picks up about it. It says to Yehuda, if you had stood up to us, we wouldn't have done it. Right. So, but here finally, like Yehuda is getting the strength to actually stand up and take responsibility and take leadership, and the haker switches. Yes.
If Tamar had said it instead of his saying it,
right,
she would have prevented him from doing the tshuva.
Right.
Saying it,
right.
He's doing this tshuva.
Right, absolutely right. The whole thing about Yehuda's character comes out because he's given that opening, and it's actually quite interesting, right? Because the haker is giving somebody an opening. So in the case by the brothers sending it to Yaakov, if they would have said, "Look what happened to Yosef," right, he wouldn't have believed them. But if you sort of let the person say it himself, right, then then it's more true. Like you gave him the opening. And so here too, if she would have confronted him, he would have rejected it. But by giving him the opening, he allowed him to own it. So there's a very similar dynamic, going on with the whole haker.
But there's a second level onto this also in terms of this Yehuda. There was midah. You're saying midah keneged midah, but for Yaakov was also midah keneged midah.
Right. Thank you for pointing that out. Right. So that's the thing. The way haker plays and the blood and the seir, right? Because it starts with Yaakov taking the Gediya Izim and putting it on his arms, right? And then he gets and he gets tricked by it says by Yitzchak. What's the pasuk? The lo hikiro, hiyu yadav, right? He did not recognize him. So then he made him not be use the Gedi Izim to make him recognize something that was not true. And then against him, they used the Gedi Izim, dripped in blood to make him recognize something that was not true. And then by Yehuda gets paid back. And then ultimately the Vayaker keeps on playing down, like by Yosef and his brothers, right? The lo, Vayaker Yosef et Achav, ve'hem lo hikiruhu. So there's that whole theme, but yes, it very much is the midah keneged midah from the whole Yaakov and Esav story. Absolutely. Okay, so now it says, where was it? Okay, and na means please. Amrle, she said to him, please. Recognize your creator. Do not hide your eyes from me. She is more righteous than I. So Yosef that sanctified God's name in private. Again, we're once again about sexual sin. He held back on the Eshes Potiphar. He got one letter of God's name. An extra hey. Yehuda Shekidesh Shem Shemayim b'far Hesia in public, he publicly acknowledged his sin, right? His whole name was called like Yehuda. You have a Yud and a Hey and a Vav and a Hey. So anyway, Kivan showed there the Amar. He said she is more righteous than I. You have saved Tamar and her two children from the fire. I will save 3 of your children from the fire. Maninu Chananah Mishav Azariah. Okay, which in the end, right, gets thrown into the fire, gets saved. Sadka mimeni, mina yada. Now the Gemara reads mimeni, not she's more righteous than I, but she is more righteous. It is mine. It's my child. So how did he know? So I mean, he had sex with her. He had sex with her, but how do you know it's his child? Mina yada. So yatz exactly. Yatz tabaska v'amra mimeni yatzu kvushim. God is saying mimeni. This is all my divine plan. This all came from me. He no longer knew her no further, which presumably means he no longer had sex with her after that moment, which is funny. Well, not funny. Anyway, so Amar Shmuel Saba, it's Chamua Rav Shmuel Bar Ami, Mishmeid Rav Shmuel Bar Ami, Kivan she had once he had knew her, and now reading knew her, the sex with her, but knew that she was righteous, okay, and that she did it l'shem shamayim, Shuv lo pasak mimena. he didn't stop having sex with her. Now they started living together. Okay, it was a good once, you know. So now they became married. A powerful voice that did not cease. So it actually says not that now they separated from her, but actually a nicer end to the story. Now they went to live together. They became husband and wife. So that is
strange.
That is strange. Now,
Not if you see it in the context of, lever marriage, right?
right. If you see it in the context of lever marriage, and if you also see it in the context here about the issue, right? But also if you see it in the context of like sexual sin. Remember, we started with saying, you desired something and you lost what was yours, and you didn't get what you desired. And here, because he did the sort of right thing. Right? I mean, not he started right because he started she was a prostitute, but he ultimately owned up, and took responsibility and so on. Ultimately, he gets rewarded, as it were, and he gets to continue living with Tamar. I mean, that's one way of sort of seeing that.
With like the story of the tzitzi, right?
Right. In the end, she becomes his wife.
Yeah,
exactly. So we'll end here, but since we are talking about the Tamar story, I just have to tell you a brilliant, and it's coming up pretty soon in the Parsha. I just have to share with you a brilliant insight from Robert Alter on the Parsha, where it says, and then when he wants to go pay her, it says he sends his Re'eu Adulami, and she says, so Robert Alter says, notes the difference between Zonah, it says initially, and Kedeshah. And he points out that Kedeshah actually is not a prostitute, it's like a cult prostitute, which was done in some type of avodah zarah ritual. They would sleep with these cult prostitutes.
All over the Middle East.
Right. So he says, Yehuda was basically trying to save face. You don't want to go around and say, hey, where's the prostitute that I slept with the other, or his friend was saying. So, cult prostitute, that's already like L'Shem Shamayim, So he sends his friend to say, not where's the Zonah, but where's the Kedeshah, to save face. But then the people say, Kadeshas, we don't know of any Kadeshas. Zonas we've got. Kadeshas we don't know. So anyway, so you get that. So it's a good plan, I think. All right, to be continued.
I'm reminded of the stories of the